I must first fix my home before I can fix my community. I started with myself. Now I must fix my home so that I may be able to sustain the community. I must take the plank out of my eye to help others with the splinters and specks in theirs. So this is a quote unquote Jesus quote about the take the plank out of your eye before you help your fellow person with their speck or whatever in their eye, right? Um, and so what I mean is by this is, I've been I would say I've been doing the self work, and I feel like I have changed as a person pretty drastically. I don't know how much on the outside people would think that I've changed in the past, I don't know, 5 years, but I do feel like I don't even recognize, I don't even really recognize who I used to be. I don't know who I was before, but I feel like it's not who I am now. And because I've gone through that process, I'm now at a point where I want to make a difference. I want to change this world, but I'm not currently in a position to do so because I don't have, you know, I don't have the structure in place. Um, you know, I I've, as I said, done the self work, but my home is kind of a mess, right? And in the sense that we just have a lot of junk that's not needed, and there's a lot of things that I want, but we don't, have in place. So, certain things like I want to have a greenhouse. Okay, well, I got to make one, right? But in order to make one, I got to make room for it, right? And then, I want to organize things so that we have more room so that I can do more projects because I want to do more. I want to do more things, but I don't have the room for, these things I want to do. And so, well, you make room. How do you make room? By removing the clutter, by removing the toxins. I just did a talk about this, right? So we've got a lot of clutter. We've got a lot of junk we probably don't need or we'd never use, or, it's useful stuff. It's just not properly organized. And so I just am kind of working on that right now because once I have that settled, then I'm in a position where I can utilize my experience there and my skills there to then expand out and do similar things in my community. And then if I can do similar things in my community, then and I have my community situated in a good state, then I can expand my scope and continue to expand my scope and continue to expand my scope. And it's just small steps, and eventually, the small steps are actually massive leaps by the perspective of me right now. Like right now, for me to make any change in my community seems like this monumental task. Like where do you even start with that, right? But by slowly working through these things, it trains me and prepares me for the next step, right? The next thing. And so certain experiences, certain ideas that seem, daunting, it seems like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. How do I even go about doing that, right? By, taking it in smaller steps. Okay, like how do I even go about doing a project? Like if I want to make a greenhouse, how do I go about doing that, right? Well, it's pretty simple on paper, right? You just build it, right? But there's a little bit more that goes into it, right? You got to find the time, you got to find the money, right? And you got to find the space. And so by practicing this at home, I then have experience that I can translate into my community, and then it's similar principles, but it's just a little bit different, right? But I already have some experience. I already have something there to be like, well, you've done this, so why not do that. Like, you should be able to do that too. You can do this. You figured this out. You can figure this out as well, right? So it's like a mental training to realize, oh wait, maybe that's not as complicated as I thought. I guess I can do that. I guess I will do that, right? And so rather than saying, it's way too much. Like, I can't make a difference. There's nothing I can do. On the grand scope, sure, not right now, but don't worry about the big. Focus on your immediate area. Start with yourself, and if you've got yourself figured out, then, again, fix up. If you don't really have family or whatever, fix up your friends. If you don't really have that either, I would argue that means that you need to work on that. But, find a community, and then, work with your community, and then, expand out from there. And, it's not all gonna just happen right away. It's not always gonna be this simple thing that's, it just like, boom, it happens. But, just as I don't know when my transition to who I am now happened, but now that I'm on the other side of it, I feel like a completely different person, right? And I think it'll be a similar thing where once you start working towards this goal, you'll get to a point where you're like, how did I even get here? Like, I don't even, like, it just kind of happened, right? But it didn't just kind of happen. There was steps that you took to get there. There was work put in to get there. And you made it a reality through your efforts. And that's pretty much the goal, right? That's how you achieve big things. And so, I don't know, I feel like I'm just kind of rambling and saying the same thing over here. So, yeah. Peace out.